Mothers know all about life's tricky transitions. Thankfully, Ollie helps you prioritize wellness through every age, life stage, or magnificent mood change. Need a multitasking multivitamin that keeps up with you? How about an essential prenatal for you and baby? Ollie's got you through it all. Life's tricky. Your wellness routine shouldn't be. Get what you need at ollie.com.
This is what you do when you've just found that statement handbag on eBay and you want to build an entire wardrobe around it. You start selling to keep buying. Yep, on eBay. Over that all-black everything phase? List it and buy all the color. Feeling more vintage than ever? It's out with the new and in with the pre-loved. Next thing you know, you've refreshed your wardrobe basically without spending a dime. Yeah, eBay, the place to buy and sell new, pre-loved, vintage, and rare fashion.
I'm Dr. Wendy Hunter, and I'm the pediatrician next door. I'm that doctor friend you call for practical advice about your kid's health. I mix the science of medicine with the reality of parenting. As you're about to learn from my backstory, I have no idea what I'm doing hosting a podcast. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and one of my favorites is the Dumb Dad podcast. I wanted to learn from these two pro-dad podcasters who also probably think they don't know what they're doing half the time, but they do. So I asked them to guest host the show. Here they are.
I am community college single semester, almost completer Kevin.
I am a fly by the seat of my pants dad, Evan.
Yeah, we're both the dumb dads, and we are guest hosting the pediatrician next door. Wendy, thanks for having us.
Yes, thank you.
It's so good to talk with you and meet with you. I've met many a pediatrician in my day, and it's usually always I'm less nervous, I will say, talking to you.
I'm the first one you don't have to pay.
Or lie to. Or pay.
Yeah, no lying and no copay.
Yes, I've had the pleasure of already speaking with Wendy before when I was on her podcast when we were trying to team up with this whole thing before. And so I'm less nervous as well because she was very nice.
Oh, good.
She didn't make me feel as dumb as we claim to be.
Well, wait until my questions.
There's always plenty. Yeah, there will be windows of opportunity.
No, I feel the challenge. I'm ready for the challenge. I'd love to hear what you've got for me today.
I am curious. What made you... I mean, I love the idea of this podcast. It's not like, what are you doing? But it's more like, what made you, I love the idea of it. What made you come up with the idea for it? What made you decide to do this?
Oh, it's really deep. I'm kind of embarrassed to say, but...
Let's go.
All right. This is just being honest. So I used to work in the emergency room, the pediatric emergency room. And most of the people that I saw there never take their children to the doctor. And it's not because they don't want to. It's because they either don't have a car or they work all day. Completely understandable issues. And so it's really hard to reach all parents with really basic pediatric information. And so I'd ended up doing it in like 3:00 in the morning in the emergency room. Mm-hmm. So I was like, you know what? Maybe I should have a media outlet where really I'm just here to share information about basic kids' health. That's it.
I love that.
I mean, that's a fantastic idea because we have the technology at our disposal now, more so than ever. And so to be able to create something that's just a free outlet for people to come listen to and find, I mean, it's so smart. And I'm sure that you feel now you can make a much bigger difference than before when you were so one family at a time would come in and you'd have to say like, man, I wish I could like talk to more people at once.
Yeah, I'm trying to leverage it. The thing is, it turns out it was really a dumb idea. It was funny though, and maybe I will or not share this actually, but it's funny because I had written a book and I thought that was the way to go. And I was a few drinks in and I was standing in a bar and I saw this woman and I knew she had 5 kids. I had never spoken to her. Her name's Kate Casey. She has a podcast. So I walk up to her and I'm like, hey, because I'm like,
because you had a liquid courage at that point.
Yeah, I had some liquid courage. I was like, hey, I wrote this book and I told her all about it. And I was all excited. I'm like, is that something you would read as a parent? And she's like, no one reads books. You should have a podcast. And she literally texted her producer right then and there. And I feel like Forrest Gump because all of a sudden now I have a podcast and that is just my big mouth.
Wow, that's awesome
Yeah.
though. You went
Yeah.
for it though. You're embarrassed of it, but it's, I mean, half of it is like, if you don't say it, it doesn't happen. So
That's how I got here. And now I'm down this rabbit hole forever.
I actually did also work occasionally in the ER. I was a phlebotomist for a year, and I worked all over the hospital. And I don't know if your hospital did this. Please tell me if they did. Phlebotomists specifically, or people that worked in the lab, had baby blue lab coats.
Oh, yeah. Same.
We're the only ones with baby blue lab coats.
Yeah.
Which is stupid, because when you go to pediatrics, you walk in, kids are good at colors, and they see the baby blue lab coat, and they're like, "Oh, cool! It's the guy who's going to stab me." And like, you walk in the door, and they immediately start crying. And I was like, "Why do I have to wear this coat? It doesn't make any sense."
Right. It's like walking around with a big like yellow flag. Like,
Yeah.
hey,
Yeah.
emergency here.
I'm the guy you don't like.
Yeah.
No
I
matter
love
what
if
my name
you-
is.
If you describe to your kids what you used to do you think, Kevin, that they thought you were like Dracula?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've described it like that to them.
Mhm.
And we'll get into it in a minute, but my daughter had to go to the hospital recently, and she had to get an IV, and I wasn't going to get in the weeds of like, I didn't do IVs, but I was basically like, this is what I did at the hospital pretty
Right.
exclusively, was just this, stab you and walk away.
So did that make her feel better about what was about to happen?
It did. She was in good spirits about it for sure. But I explained it to her. She was like, "You used to do this?"
Yeah,
And
that's awesome.
I mean, I think she thought it was
You twisted soul. How did you have? How did you?
And how can I get that job?
because it's power. I had power over people. I took a little bit
we
of them
had the
and ran
best
away.
phlebotomist. I loved him. He was enormous. Well, he still is. He's still around. He's
Yeah.
a huge guy, covered in tattoos, all his neck, everything, arms. And
Nice.
just, I don't know how it worked, but kids, I think they thought he was like a cartoon character because he'd
Mhm.
come lumbering in and they were like, "Oh my God, I've never seen anything like this." And that was so distracting. He just like poke him.
He's a big
Come
old
and go.
bear. He was just disarming.
Huge bear. Mm-hmm.
My first.
That many tattoos. You're familiar with needles. He's
Yeah.
like,
For
Right,
sure.
true.
I know my way around
You
needles.
want to know pain? He shows you under his arm. That one hurt.
That one hurt.
I remember the first day I worked as a phlebotomist. I had worked at the hospital for 2 years prior as a patient transporter, so everybody knew me there. And then I trained at night. And my first patient I had to do on my own. The nurse was in the ER. You're all very busy. You're running around. The patient wanted the nurse to do it. The nurse was like, "I don't have time for this." Walked in and was like, "This is Kevin. He's the best phlebotomist in the hospital, the best one we have. He's going to get you on the first stick. All right, you got it." And walked away. That was my first guy.
She forgot to say he's also the only phlebotomist currently
There's only
here.
one. He's not at lunch.
Yeah.
Only one, yeah.
Yeah.
He's not nervous at all because it's his first one ever.
But I got him. I got him on the first stick.
I actually did research early in my career using ultrasound guided IV placement for those hard sticks. Just really boring fun fact on the side there.
Did you have to? You had to train on yourselves, right? On each other.
No, absolutely not. No.
Oh, that's what we
definitely
did. When I was at phlebotomy school at night, we just practiced on each other.
not. Oh,
Here's the thing.
he's a lot of friends.
I mean, I'm a mouthy guy now with a podcast. Nothing's different from back then. I was just always the guy making comments and jokes. And the teacher pulled me aside and she's like, "Hey, I'm only asking you because you're a really good sport." And I was like, "Okay." And she's like,
I've had this beginning of this conversation many times.
and she's like, we'll use Evan. Evan's having a bit of trouble with, sticking. Would you stay a little bit after class so they can practice on you? And I was like, because I wanted to pass the class. I
yeah.
wanted to be. That hurts so bad.
I know when they
Somebody
hit
who's
those
not
valves.
good at it.
Because she was like, went in, and what you're not supposed to do is called fishing, which is just like once you're in, it's like you either get it, maybe you can adjust a little bit, but like that's it. You don't like, what's going on in here?
Like,
Like,
it's got to be around here somewhere.
and she did that, and it was
We don't want to
wild.
turn people's veins into fishnets.
Yeah. It was
Got some
wild.
bruises. So just curious, how many friends do you have from phlebotomy school?
Well, that was a lifetime ago. That
I'm
was
gonna go
probably
with none.
20. That was 20 years ago.
I'm going to
Ooh.
go with none.
And I moved to New York, and I went to like the nearest hospital near my apartment, and I walked in, and they were like, I was like, "Are you guys hiring phlebotomists?" And they were like, "Are you nationally certified?" And I was like, "All right, I'm going to go to a toy store."
Yeah.
I wasn't nationally certified. I was only like certified in my state. And I was like, All right, I don't want to do any more tests. I'm out of here.
I did sell my plasma twice a week to get through college.
Nice.
Yeah. That was good money.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. You do what you can.
Yeah. You get like a bonus if you're CMV positive. So every disease you have just counts for more money. Turns out.
So parents, you got to pay for those groceries. Here's some hacks
There you go.
because they're not getting any cheaper. All right. Well, we have you here. We have questions for you. We know that that's what you do.
Mm-hmm. The
What
questions,
is-
also, these are the questions, let's say that when we take our kids to the doctor and they're like, do you have any questions? And you're like, mm-mm.
No, I don't. And you get in the car and go, stupid.
Yeah.
Or you call your wife and she's
Oh.
like, did you ask him about the...
No, I forgot because I didn't write it down. But today we wrote stuff down.
My tagline is the questions that you were too embarrassed to ask at the doctor.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
this is just bring it. Yeah.
So I'll start with this. How do I get my children to stop? Sorry, that's the whole question. Okay.
Okay. The truth is there is an answer.
I.e., just knock it off.
Right.
Yeah.
There is an answer to this question.
Oh, what is it?
You give them more attention. If you just smother them with all of your attention, like be like eye contact and hugs and giving them stuff, they will just get away from you and they will stop everything. Yeah, it's a surefire solution.
Oh, that's good.
Enough
Maybe
is
I-
enough.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
it's a
let's-
two-way street is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Enough is
Yep.
enough. They're like,
Yeah.
all right, I get it.
Mhm.
So
Just
that's
make
how to get
them
them-
tell you to stop.
Mm-hmm.
You got to out annoy them. That's a science-based answer, by the way.
I think that is.
I don't doubt it.
That's definitely
Mhm,
peer reviewed.
mhm. Peer reviewed.
They watch a show I don't like. This is cool. He's fun. What's that guy's story? All right, I'm going to go read a book. I'm going to go do my homework. Is there something that you wish that you feel like more parents should be doing or that you wish they were doing? Something that's kind of like a common thing that maybe they don't know. And it's okay if you don't have an answer for this because it's so vague. But just something like you wish more parents knew in general, that there was just more outreach for it.
I actually do have an answer to this. I have a
Okay.
couple. And this is serious. I wish parents would sit down at the table and eat with their kids.
Yeah.
It's really simple. I think if you think about your day, you're like, I made the food. I never sat down. Pretty sure they
Yeah.
finished eating and we're gone. Because it's like, who cares what food you put on the table? I mean, it actually does matter, but that is like the least important part. But if you're like sitting there and you hear what they're saying, and sometimes it's like being at bedtime where they're suddenly like, now we want to talk to you.
Yes.
But family mealtime is like crucial. So if I could get up on a soapbox, it would be that one.
Okay. That's a great one.
I 100% agree with that. I mean, like we sit down to dinner every night at the dining room table with
Wow,
the kids.
nice.
And sometimes it's longer than other times when they're like checked out and done eating quickly and they're like, can I go? So it feels like, well, I don't want to hold them here against their will so that then this becomes something that they don't want to be doing, but they know that like at dinner, we all sit down at the dining room table and we eat together. And more often than not, they're telling us, guess what happened at PE today? Or this kid did this. And we were like, okay, great. It's just nice to talk to each other at some point in the day all together at the same time. And that's no better place than the dining room table. So it really does work.
And you make that a ritual so they know it's coming and they start to look forward to it. And they're like you think they don't like it. And then one night you don't have the mealtime and they're like, wait, well, why aren't we doing that tonight? Like what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Evan, you got one?
I do have a question. I like the beginning of this. I think Kevin wrote this question. Everybody lies when you go to the doctor and they say how many drinks you have a week. So what is that for the parent? What's the thing that everyone says, oh, my guess would be like, oh yeah, they eat great.
That's a great question.
What's the one that that we're lying? Is
You know that we're lying.
Like when you go to the doctors, you're like 1 to 2 a week, and we're like, oh, if that. What's it?
There are actually like multiple probably, and none are coming to me right now, but I do just
Okay.
kind of baseline assume every teenager is lying to me about everything.
Okay.
So I don't buy anything any teenager tells me, like what time they go to bed. I've stopped asking, do you use marijuana? And now I just say, how much or when was the last time? Because if I say, do you use marijuana? And they're like, no, And I think in their head, they're like, well, I didn't today or yet. It's like 10 a.m.
Yeah. I barely had the opportunity to.
Or, it depends on how I phrase the question. And then I say, well, when was the last time? And they're like, oh, it was like Saturday. And this is like Tuesday. So I'm like, okay, all right, let's talk about this.
Yeah.
But aside from teenagers, that's a good question because, I see a lot more younger kids. What are you guys lying to me about?
We don't have teenagers yet. That was a great... Are you in a state where marijuana is legal?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, us too. So that'll be something to navigate.
It's bad. It's real bad. It's really, really bad.
What do you lie to your doctor, pediatrician about?
I don't know. I mean,
bedtime?
No, I don't think so. There's nothing that I would like be embarrassed to say. And even if I am, it's like, well, then I can swallow my embarrassment because it would just be my fault. I mean, like if the bedtimes are getting later and later, but I also know that if they're getting later and later, but.
Well, I love when parents complain to me about the junk food their kids are eating and their kid is like 3. I'm like, but why do you have that in the house? Or like, just put it higher, put it up.
Yeah, it's like if they can't eat it.
Do you
if
not
you
know
don't
how to
have
hide it?
Yeah.
Right.
No, you never. It's always just fun surprises and no complaints. That's parenting.
No, I know you have those moments in the day where you're like, how did I get myself into this situation where I like literally have Jell-O on my clothes and I'm trying to find a wet wipe for snot. Like, I don't like, when did this become my life?
How do you feel great on vacation? Like really good? Easy. You go to Aruba. You'll spend your time relaxing on cool white sand beaches and floating in healing blue water. You'll immerse yourself in natural wonder and find your center on an island where things move at your speed. You won't just feel great, you'll feel relaxed, renewed, and ready for life. That's the Aruba effect. Plan your trip at Aruba.com.
Imagine what's possible when learning doesn't get in the way of life. At Capella University, our game-changing FlexPath learning format lets you set your own deadline so you can learn at a time and pace that works for you. It's an education you can tailor to your schedule. That means you don't have to put your life on hold to pursue your professional goals. Instead, enjoy learning your way and earn your degree without missing a beat. A different future is closer than you think with Capella University. Learn more at capella.edu.
If I can give your listeners anything, it's don't lose, when you're done with diapers, don't get out of the habit of not carrying around wipes.
Oh, yeah. Just
always have wipes on hand.
This is the big takeaway today. Mm-hmm.
It's the amount of times that you're just like, oh my God, you're so gross right now. And I got nothing to work with. Yeah.
Or if you spill something in the car or whatever, and it's like, they're in the glove box.
Yeah.
To have them everywhere is like, it's like a little life hack.
In the
so like
car,
a holster you're talking about. We should definitely produce this.
Like a thigh holster, and you could just pull it off the side.
Yeah, we could probably find a manufacturer and market this together.
That's a good idea.
Double branded. Mm-hmm.
We'll make them look cool.
Mm-hmm.
So parents, so guys want to wear them.
Maybe a chest strap kind of situation. Those are right now. Really.
Like you put it on like an old detective who's putting his revolver on the side.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You guys have to do that on Instagram, please.
We'll do that.
Okay, tag me.
All right, we will.
That's such a good idea. It's like a 70s cop.
Yeah.
The aviators and you're like leather.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I can't wait.
There you go.
So the moral of the story is when you go to Costco and you're tempted to buy a gross of something, like just pivot and go for the wet wipes. Don't go for the Cheez-Its.
No, go for the,
Cheez-Its are really good.
But if you go for the Cheez-Its, your kids don't like Cheez-Its anymore.
Right. Now they want Goldfish, which are like identical.
Mm-hmm. When you buy Costco size anything, they're like, I don't like that. It tastes weird. And I was like, you're weird. I mean, I love you.
But that's also why you buy a bulk of something that you will then consume if they don't like it.
That's the problem with Cheez-Its. Goldfish, I think, are lame, but Cheez-Its are
well, in this time of year, you can't go wrong because you can always give it out as trick or treat.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Really unload that stuff.
Yeah,
that's true.
Smart idea.
And then you'll be identified as that house.
Just fine with me. Completely fine.
Costco apples.
Quick update. Last time we chatted, I asked how do you get your kiddo to stop sucking their thumb? And your tip, I remember, was 30 days in a row You basically have to bribe them a little gift in the morning every day if they made it through the night without doing that. That is my next step. I also mentioned, I believe, that we were looking into like maybe the glove. It's like a glove that the kid wears that only covers like these two fingers.
Uh-huh.
And so we bought that, and my daughter wore them around like they were cool accessories for 3 days.
I saw her wearing those, and I was like, what are those?
Yeah. It's basically you just ask them to wear them at night so they don't accidentally suck their thumb.
Sure.
Does she suck both thumbs?
No, it's her. No, it's her left one only.
Yeah, so you only have to cover that one. Hot tip. Mm-hmm.
Yes, I think so. But she thought, we bought pink ones and purple ones, and they had
Mm-hmm.
unicorns on them. So she was like it was now a fashion statement.
I love when other people show up to school with those or tell their mom, like, my friend has this really cool glove. Do you think you can find it?
It's going to be so funny when she's like 20 and she's like, oh yeah, I loved those gloves. I was so cool. And you're like, those are to get you to stop sucking your thumb.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I'm so excited. Please write this down in her baby book. I don't want you to forget.
I know. So, I think we're probably headed towards the 30-day challenge method because she also will just take them off. I mean, she has acknowledged that first thing you do is acknowledge that there's a problem. But she has said, like, when we've been kind of repeatedly told her to take your thumb out of your mouth, like, if we just see it happening, we just kind of quietly mention it and not make a big deal about it. But it's a reaction now. Like, she doesn't even know. Like, she'll take it out and be like, I'm sorry. And it's like, it's fine. I'm not mad or anything. I'm just reminding you because I'm trying to help you. And she has said before, it's so hard. I need help to stop.
This really does sound like she's working the steps and she's like in the pre-contemplative stage.
Yeah, because then, but we'll leave the room and then she'll get comfortable and it'll go back in. And it's not like I don't think she's necessarily making the conscious decision like, okay, they're gone. And it just is like, it's such a reactionary, comforting thing so anyway, yeah. So that'll be probably an update on our podcast as time goes on.
It's such a hard habit to break. Yeah. So let's get back together when this has worked.
I do have another question
I'll
about
see you guys
that.
like in 2 years.
Yeah.
Oh,
sorry.
maybe.
I mean,
that's good. No, I appreciate a good burn.
We'll be realistic.
You did mention though, you said like they have to wear, like you have to put their hands in socks and like pin those to their clothes when they go to bed at night. But that makes me uncomfortable in the sense that like, I don't know how she would sleep if she doesn't have her hands free to like just move around if they're pinned to her pajamas or something.
Well, the sock is just like the opening of the sock is pinned around the sleeve opening. So it's just like an extension of your sleeve. You could probably take your sleeves and make them super long.
Hold on.
And then just pin the ends of the sleeve.
Hold on.
I'm not sure what you were thinking.
Evan thought that you were saying, this is great.
I'm really excited.
This is wonderful. Evan thought that you said to take socks, put it over her hands, pin them to her pants. So she's trapped.
I don't know where he got pants from.
So that she's just trapped in the prone position for the whole night. This is wonderful.
I'm going to take from this a really important pediatric pearl, and that is that we need to be very careful about the way we communicate with parents.
Because they're pretty thick.
And don't be afraid to ask doctors follow-up questions, Evan.
So this is entirely on me.
To be clear,
you're welcome.
Oh, I don't think so. No, this is too fun for me to blame you.
Oh no, I've got a good story that'll maybe make him feel a little bit better. Can I share my story?
Yes.
So I mean,
because I still haven't recovered.
How many nights did she sleep like Frankenstein on the bed?
We haven't tried that yet because that's been the part of me that's like, I don't know if I can do that.
That's what he was saying. He was starting to tell you, I don't feel comfortable pinning my child's arms down. And then you just said, it's just gloves, man. So good.
I don't know where he got that.
He was going to get the big leather belt to go across her chest.
So just wrap her like a mummy.
I told my wife about this. I was like, I think we should get the gloves. I don't know if we should. And like, she didn't necessarily correct maybe that she meant this, but like, but that's part of the reason I've been like, I don't know, like, how's she going to sleep?
Thank you for sharing.
I actually thought you were going to say that you weren't sure how she'd open like the doorknob with the sock on. That's where I thought you were going.
No,
mummy style. Okay.
No, because she rolls off the bed and hits her face because her arms are trapped.
So that's the next stage. If you fail my system, you then put them in a straitjacket.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is great. This is going perfectly. Sorry. What is your story? I want to hear it.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
man.
So had this patient. He had really bad constipation. He's like 6 years old, right? Dad comes in, mom's not there. And I explained my whole thing about how to do a bowel clean out. And it includes, taking Miralax, but then taking 1 square of X-Lax. So like I said, 1 square of X-Lax. So they call the next day. Dad gives the entire bar of chocolate of X-Lax, which is 12 little rectangles.
To be fair,
we didn't have
a
a
bar
foot.
is a square.
Yeah, so I don't really know where the disconnect was, and the kid was fine. He pooped like a bit, no big deal, but gave him the entire bar of X-Lax. When I meant like break off a small piece corner.
He didn't blow a hole through the wall.
No, kid was fine.
You're going to say he was fine, but he shot himself off the toilet.
I mean, that's the thing about being kids. Is it goes back to like they can eat Wheat Thins and be fine. I mean, thank goodness it was a child that did that and not a grown up. Then it's
right. No, he would still be on the toilet if it was the dad.
Still be there today.
Yeah. I was like, if I ate a whole bar, I wouldn't put myself more than 5 feet away from a toilet for like 3 days.
No. And that kid was like, "Can I have more?
Can I have more? It's delicious.
More is at the end of the box."
I can see that dad being like, "Finish the bar." And the dad gets like, "I don't want any more."
No more chocolate. On that note, that's the perfect place to take a break until next week when the Dumb Dads finish guest hosting this show. On their show, the Dumb Dad Podcast, Evan and Kevin share a dumb dad moment or a story every week. And I join them in this tradition on the next episode of The Pediatrician Next Door, when we all share a dumb parenting moment. It's a classic. For more from The Pediatrician Next Door, find me on the web at pediatriciannextdoorpodcast.com. If you've got a question about the weird things kids do, send an email to hello@pediatriciannextdoorpodcast.com for a chance to hear your voice on the show. I'm Dr. Wendy Hunter, and I'm the Pediatrician Next Door. This show is produced by Red Rock Music. Make sure to subscribe and leave a review wherever it is you're listening. I'll be back next time with more.